system had already detected the failure of the revenue collector to retire these accountable documents, and disciplinary process was instituted against the officer but not completed. The action taken: officer was recommended for disciplinary action and has since been dismissed from employment by the Local Government Service Commission for failure to account for the 2 general receipt books and 2 business levy receipt books. Then we have an appendix to support that. Remedial measures: the council has tasked a senior finance officer to frequently review accountable documents registered to ensure that all accountable documents are regularly and promptly accounted for. Next, management of payroll and other staff-related matters. Irregular payment, non-detrimental allowances. Cause of the query: the council wished to state that the cited officers who were being paid non-detrimental and outlier allowances were transferred from other local authorities, and at the time of their reporting, these allowances were reflecting on their last pay statements as presented from the councils where they were transferred from. Action taken: the management wrote to local authorities where these officers were transferred from, seeking justification on the payments of non-detrimental and outlier allowances. Due to the period taken to get responses from these local authorities, they ceased payments of these allowances to the affected officers, awaiting justification of the same by the councils where these officers were transferred from. The officers were also informed accordingly. We have appendixes to support that action. Remedial measures: the council has resolved that such payments will only be made to officers on transfer from other local authorities after justification is provided by the sending councils by way of documentations. Procurement of goods and services. Cause of the query: the council wished to state that most of the supporting documentations were on file and not attached to the payment vouchers at the time of audit. Action taken: all the supporting documentations have been attached to the payment vouchers and are fully supported. We have Appendix 8 to support that. Remedial measures: the council has streamlined the filing system, and the senior accounting officer checks all the payment vouchers to ensure that they were adequately supported with relevant documents before and after the completion of any payment. The internal audit unit is carrying out pre-audit as well as post-audit of all payments to ensure that all payments are adequately supported at any point in time. Next, debt management strategy formulation, wasteful expenditure. Cause of the query: at the time of the audit, the local authority had not yet formulated the debt management strategy, as it was still in the process of formulation. Action taken: the local authority is in the process of formulating a strategy on debt management and the debt policy to be put in place. Remedial measures: the local authority will adhere to its debt management strategy and policy for it to achieve its goals once it has been finalized. Management of assets. The procurement of global positioning system, wasteful expenditure. Cause of the query: the council procured the global positioning system without the activation key, and it could not be used for intended purpose. Action taken: the council had written to the supplier requesting him to provide the activation key. Furthermore, the council has engaged the legal counsel to commence legal action against the supplier to compel him to provide the activation key. Then we have an appendix that is attached to support that action. The remedial measure: the council will ensure that all goods and services procured are in line with the principle of value for money by strictly adherence to the purchase procedures. Next, lack of title deeds. Cause of query: the council did not produce the certificates of title for the buildings in question, as it had not yet obtained them. Action taken: the council has commenced the process of obtaining title deeds for its properties. To this effect, it had engaged the Department of Physical Planning to survey all its properties. The council had submitted the site plans of all council properties to the Commission of Lands for numbering and offers. Remedial measures: the council would ensure that all council properties were surveyed and title deeds were obtained. Next, management of local government equalization fund. Failure to maintain streets. Though Chair, here I beg it to be corrected. It's supposed to be street lights as a title. Street lights.
We'll put the addendum. May I go ahead?
Thank you,
please?
Chair. Cause of the query: the 10 poles of street lighting were vandalized by unknown persons who stole solar panels and bulbs during night times. At the time of audit, these had not been replaced due to court process which was underway, as suspects were apprehended and taken to the courts of law. Action taken: the council still awaits conclusion of the court process, as the same is evidence before the courts of law. Remedial measures: council, through its police unit, has increased night patrols to ensure that no persons vandalize public installations. The council has also stepped up education and sensitization campaigns to the general public on the need and importance of preserving public installations such as street light facilities. 8. Management of Constituency Development Fund. On the construction of 1x3 classroom block at Sibukali. Cause of the query: the contractor engaged could not complete works on time as per schedule due to consecutive slow progress even after several warnings and cautions. Action taken: the council terminated the contract with the contractor as the contractor could not manage to fulfill his obligations despite several warnings and reminders. The project has since been re-advertised in order to engage another contractor to complete the remaining works. Remedial measures: the council will in future not engage such contractors to undertake any kind of works. Furthermore, the council have put up punitive measures to be prescribed in all the contracts to deter unsatisfactory performance of the contractors. Then construction of a toilet at Sunda Primary School, stored works. Cause of query: the contractor engaged could not complete works on time as per schedule, as it took long to commence works after the site was handed over to him. Action taken: the council warned and cautioned the contractor over his slow pace at which the works were progressing. To this effect, the contractor completed the works on 18th November 2022, and the project has since been handed over to the beneficiaries. We have an appendix to back that action. Remedial measure: the council will in future not engage such contractors to undertake any kind of works. Furthermore, the council have put up punitive measures to be prescribed in all the contracts to deter unsatisfactory performance of the contractors. Next, completion of Namukokoba Rural Health Post, stored works. Cause of the query: the contractor engaged could not complete works on time as per schedule due to late mobilization on part of the contractor on site. The commencement of works therefore took long after the site was handed over to him. The contractor continued with a slow pace of progress despite several warnings and cautions. Action taken: the council terminated the contract with the contractor following continued unsatisfactory contract performance by the contractor. The council, through the CDF committee, requested for additional funding to complete the project on labor-based. Then we have an appendix to support that. The remedial measure: the council will in future not engage such contractors to undertake any kind of works. Furthermore, the council have put up punitive measures to be prescribed in all contracts to deter unsatisfactory performance of contractors. Management of liabilities: failure to remit statutory obligations. Cause of query: the council wishes to report that the local authority was unable to remit statutory contributions to respective authorities in full due to difficulties in liquidity during the period under review. The amount swelled as a result of penalties accumulated on some of the outstanding obligations, such as NAPSA. This made it difficult to meet its statutory obligations. Action taken: the council wishes to report that a total amount of 1,496,490 kwacha have been paid towards, it should not be staff, but statutory obligations as at fourth quarter of 2022, as shown in the table below. Furthermore, the local authority has entered into a payment plan with the concerned statutory bodies in order to liquidate the outstanding arrears. Remedial measures: the council wishes to report that the local authority will ensure that it remits statutory obligations without further delay, and revenue generation options are explored to improve the council's revenue base. Furthermore, the local authority is requesting consideration of upward adjustment of the local government equalization fund to its allocation to meet the increased cost of the payroll. Failure to settle staff obligations, cause of the query. The Council wishes to report that the local authority could not liquidate staff debts as it faced liquidity challenges during the period under review to cope up with accumulated staff obligations. Action taken. The Council wishes to report that a total amount of 1,454,158 kwacha have been paid towards staff obligations as shown on the table below. Furthermore, the Council has put up a payment plan to liquidate the remaining balance. Remedial measures. The Council wishes to report that the local authority will ensure that it settles the staff obligations without further delay. To this effect, additional revenue options are to be explored to improve the Council's revenue base. I beg to submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members of Parliament, you are now free to ask questions, clarifications. Thank you. Maybe we begin with budget and income. Move in. Yes, MP for Chinki, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Reverend Given Katuta Mwirwa, and I represent the good people of Chieng in Luapula Province. And good morning, Senanga. I just wanted to find out, Council Secretary, out of the sum of 3,793,860 kwacha, you plan to collect from local sources. You only managed to collect 1,984,557, which was about 52% of the plan. How effective is your revenue collection? And secondly, I would like also to ask you this question. You've submitted to this committee that you've reduced the poundage for property rates and expect to see an increase in revenue. When did you reduce the rate, and has the community agreed to that rate? Have you seen any increase in compliance by rate payers? Thank you, Chair.
I think we may answer those two questions first.
Thank you, Chair. I'll ask the Treasurer to assist me with the first one, then I'll take the second one.
Thank you very much, Chair. In terms of how effective we are in terms of revenue collection, I think we are trying to do the best as a local authority. As you can see from our table here, that in most cases, apart from those which we have highlighted, we actually tried to exceed the 50%, and in most cases we have actually exceeded the target level. I submit, Chair.
Well, there were two questions. You have answered one. The second question?
Thank you, Chair. Okay.
The CS could answer the second one.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of the reduced poundage, it is true, Chair, that the old valuation roll that we had, the poundage was a bit on the higher side, and the rate payers were actually, they were stifled, and the number of properties that were captured in the old valuation roll were very few. Now, when we applied for the revision of the valuation roll, which is becoming effective in 2023, which is this year, a lot of properties have been captured. In that vein, even if the poundage has been reduced because of the numbers of the properties that have been brought on board in the valuation roll, we are able to collect more money than we were collecting when we had few properties, but they were expensive and people were failing to pay.
But the question is, when did you reduce the rate, and has the community agreed to that rate?
Thank you, Chair. The valuation roll was awarded December last year, and it's supposed to be effective January 2023. And the community, yes, we've had 2 sensitization meetings with them, and they're actually very happy with the reduction because it's quite substantial.
Chair, the last part of it,
yes.
Have they seen any increase in compliance by rate payers? after you've said you've sensitized them and they're happy. At first they could not pay because it was a bit high. Now, after sensitization, have you seen any increase in compliance by these ratepayers?
Thank you, Chair. We are yet to see, because the billing that has been done is from January to June for the first half of the rating period. So most of them have not yet started paying. We are yet to see, but from the engagement that we had, unless we were deceived, the indications they gave us was that they were very, very satisfied with the new poundage that has been allocated to the council.
Okay. Yes, Nakonde.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll take you to page 3, the fees and the charges, where you have stated to say the reason why you undercollected, there was some land issues. Now, before I could ask you my question, I would want to find out, when did the land in question become the subject of the legal matter? You have attributed to the reason why you budgeted to generate 2,385,000, but the reason why you undercollected, because there were some disputes in terms of land. When did this very land become the subject of the legal matter?
I think you could
I'll
answer
ask
that
the,
quickly.
I'll ask the treasurer to take that one.
Thank you very much, Chair. The issue came up, Chair, as we entered the first quarter of the year. That is the financial year under review. This caused us actually not to go ahead with the creation and the allocation of the plots. That's why we didn't collect any. I submit, Chair.
You still have another question?
Yes, Chair. I'm getting a bit of worried, Chair, because the issue of the land with the traditional leaders cannot just come abruptly. I'm sure there were some issues before, even they budgeted. And if you had issues before you budgeted, why did you budget for it? Something that you knew that there are some disputes with the traditional leaders. I submit, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. The dispute was amongst the traditional authorities themselves. Our understanding was we approached the traditional authorities seeking for land, not knowing that amongst themselves they were divided. The others were willing to apportion this land, others were not. That's how this matter found itself in court, and then we withdrew and said we cannot go ahead with a land which has got encumbrances. I beg
Yes,
to
but his
submit,
question is, why did you go ahead to budget when you knew there was such uncertainty in that venture?
It's true, Chair. I think it is out of trying to explore avenues of trying to increase on our revenue base, not knowing that there were underlying factors, because the team that came to negotiate with the council appeared very positive. Now, when they went back, I don't know whether it is a question of the sharing that led to this or what. But however, I think it was a mistake on our part. We should have convinced ourselves beyond reasonable doubt that this land is free of any encumbrances. Then we could not have refused it in the budget.
Yeah, so in short, his concern is we shouldn't just budget for the sake of budgeting. The ventures, what we put, because if you check here, your figures don't really balance. In some cases, you under budgeted, and what you collected was more. So maybe you are trying to run away from reality that if we over budget and we don't reach that target, we'll be condemned. And so you have income, in most cases, more than what you budgeted for. That's a very bad anomaly. Yeah.
I
I hope you're
Chair.
getting what I'm trying to say.
I acknowledge, Chair.
Yes.
I acknowledge.
So, more questions? Yes, Honorable Nyambose.
Thank you, Chair, once again. Mine, sorry, Chair, to take you back. It's a follow-up to what the Honorable Katuta asked.
Yes, your neighbor.
Council Secretary, you reduced the rate poundage, and the question was that how has been the response? Have you seen an improvement? And you are saying that you build the ratepayers up to June, and as at now you can't, people are not yet paying. Well, my understanding, Council Secretary, is that rates are due on demand. You produce the bills and demand for them. Now this is almost April. If you have not yet started getting the people paying for the same, do you think that you are going to achieve the budget that is there for you? Because, further, Chair, I understand that budget tracking is almost monthly. If you're not getting any indicators from this and you are almost doing a quarter, it calls for a review of the budget, whether you're going to achieve it. Council Secretary, how much effort are you putting to the collection of these rates after reducing the rate poundage, which you say the people are happy with? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the question and concern, but I think my response was in trying to say that it's a bit too early to form an opinion, looking at the period that this reduced poundage has just been effected in January. To form an overall opinion as to whether people are complying or not might be difficult. But in terms of paying, they are paying. The payments are trickling in quite okay. And efforts, we are putting in a lot of effort actually, because the same communities have given us an assurance that at least now they are happy with the poundage that has been awarded by the tribunal, and it is manageable. So we are constantly engaging.
Yes, he's trying to see, you see, happiness must be recorded in how they respond by paying, you see. And you are saying that it is too early. 3 months, and how many more months? 3 months, half. You are half on your rest. So you can't say it's too early to determine. This is actually the best way of determining, because we are halfway.
Okay. Okay, Chair, thank you. Let me have assistance from the Treasurer. I can give the specifics of what he has received so far.
Thank you very much, Chair.
After Isos, you can go ahead.
Maybe before you answer that one, Chair, I would like to find out if that's the case, how often then do you review your budget? I submit.
Very good question. Can incorporate that question.
Thank you very much, Chair. As to the response in terms of the property rates, as the CS indicated, the response has been positive, because as at today, we have collected so far 166,666 and 67 in way. And looking at the way people are coming over to pay,
How much do you expect to collect?
in total, for the whole year, we expect to collect
No, for this up to June.
up to June. I think we expect to collect about 400,000, because the total valuation roll is 874, and half a year build is about 400,000.
Yes. And you have not yet collected half, and you are remaining with a half month to 400.
Yes.
You are still calling that very good.
I'm comparing, Chair, with where we are coming from when we had this variation roll, the odd variation roll. But we'll make sure that we'll actually double efforts so that the figure in terms of correction on property rates is actually improved. That is our hope, Chair.
Honorable Nyambose, we still have one more question, and we
Yes, just on the same. I said earlier that rates are due on demand. The moment you give an invoice, you have the right to collect it there and then. What comfort are you drawing that 3 months, as the chair has indicated, 3 months into the bidding of half a year, you have not even collected half of the expected. And when do you expect to collect the full amount? I see some comfort in you in this one, but the duty of the treasurer or the council secretary is to ensure that you collect all the monies due to the council as and when they fall due. And they fall due for rates is the due on demand. You have released invoices, you are supposed to collect. Why are you getting this comfort that 3 months into the billing, you cannot even collect half and you say this is the best performance? Thank you, Chair.
And also answer the question, how often do you evaluate your correction from Honorable Kapampi?
Thank you very much, Chair. The evaluation of collection of revenue is done weekly, Chair.
Is done what?
Weekly, we actually review what we are collecting. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Kolala.
Thank you, Chair. CS. The question is on you have the 400,000 you want to correct halfway. We've gone already 3 months. You've not yet managed to get the quota that is required. Have you identified what could be the challenges, why you failed to get?
Yes, you can still also help because we don't need the figures there.
Thank you, Chair. The biggest challenge is what I've alluded to over the old valuation law. A lot of our ratepayers have got outstanding rates that have not been cleared. So this is when they're trying to battle to try and pay off the rates that were outstanding on the basis of the old valuation law. We went to an extent of, as a local authority, offering a rebate of 20% of the bill for those that will pay it in full. But still, it is like it's difficult for them. I think looking at the fact that most of our ratepayers in our locality are actually retired people. They don't have a steady source of income. But notwithstanding that, we are trying as local authority to ensure that as much as possible, we try and bring these people on board so that they appreciate the reason why they should pay those rates so that the council can render meaningful services to them.
Okay, no, thank you. But he doesn't really agree because I said they were very happy with these rates. Now they have become retired. So anyway, those are questions we should look at as well. Honorable Kara.
Thank you, Chair. The issues we are looking at, you're behind on your corrections, isn't it? Now, we needed to identify the problem, and of which you've identified, to say it's because they are retirees, they still have balances and the like. Now, you are just from telling us to say you are doing well, you are going to manage getting the revenue. How possible is it that you are going to manage with those challenges that you've highlighted?
Thank you very much, Chair. I think the reason why we have not collected much during the first 3 months of the year is that when this new variation law was awarded by 31st December, there was 1 or 2 processes which needed to be done, which were completed by the end of January, and the billing actually was done in somewhere around the first week of February. So after that, we have seen this positive response for the taxpayers coming over. We hope this will continue because this is February, March. I think within, safely say within 2 months, at least we're able to collect about 56,000 kwacha. I submit, Chair.
Yeah, maybe we have two more questions on that. We go to the next one. Honorable, Sumumba.
I thought maybe
Next, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I say we can go to the next. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. On page 8, accounting for revenue, there is a missing receipt books.
Yeah, a quick one on page 6, yes.
Chair, thank you. The question on page 6, Chair, is on lack of firefighting and prevention services. The council has indicated to say that they don't have that particular department or services rendered because they have arranged with the sister council, neighboring council, to help them in the interim. Looking at the way Senanga is growing, properties are coming up, and one of the functions of the council is the fire services, to provide fire services. Why has the council neglected to establish or to request that there be a very critical department established at Senanga Council than subcontracting or getting assistance from a neighboring council, which is very far? In case of fire, in case of accidents, the people of Senanga are being deprived of the most important service. Why has the council neglected to establish, to request that this critical department be established in Senanga, Chair? I submit.
Thank you. You can quickly maybe respond. Yes, another question on the same one, then we go to...
I would also like to find out what are the terms of this same collaboration with the other council, and has this collaboration been effective? I submit, Chair.
Thank you. May you answer those quickly, and then we go to Honorable Smumba's question.
Thank you, Chair. The establishment of fire stations, to a large extent, has been a matter of ministry. The ministry. First, they have the issue of declaring the local authorities as the fire authorities, and so on and so on. I'm sure the committee will agree with me that it's quite a very expensive thing that a local authority individually can take upon. It's a mammoth assignment to fully establish a fire station and equip it with the equipment that so it requires the input of the Ministry of Local Government.
Have you been contacting the Ministry of it? Do you have any evidence that you contact the ministry asking for a fire station or fire machine?
Yes, Chair. Even in my report, I've indicated that
you have evidence here in the appendix.
In the appendix?
Yes.
No, but in my statement, I've indicated that we have been given instructions by the ministry that we should budget for fire officers in the budget for 2023, which we have done.
But yeah, so you're not explaining clearly. You have been blaming the ministry. You say you need the ministry to build a fire station. Now, for the ministry to tell you that you should look for employees that will, has it promised to bring in the equipment that you need?
I wouldn't tell, Chair, because that indication for us, for them to give us a directive that we prepare for the staff, is an indication that there is something that the ministry is willing to do.
No, but you can ask CS, you can ask, so that we are very clear. You say you don't know. You can ask them questions and they will answer. That is your role there. So you ask them, you have asked us to look for these employees. What equipment are you giving us? Then you can get to know that this is what you are expecting. So you're just quiet waiting for them to tell you. They are running the whole country. If you don't push, nothing moves.
I acknowledge as an omission on my part, Chair. Sorry.
Honorable Smumba, I think we can...
Thank you very much, Chair. On page 8, accounting for revenue, missing city books. Mr. Chair, the Local Government Service Commission has dismissed the officer who did not return the receipt books. I would want to find out how much money have you lost as a Sinanga Council from the use of the receipt books that has not been retired. I want to know how much have you lost as a council. I submit, Chair.
Yes, I think that one's a quick one. You can answer quickly.
Council Treasurer, figure.
Thank you very much, Chair. According to the assessment which was made, approximately about 6,000 kwacha was lost. And if you read the report, I think that figure is included in the report of the disciplinary action that was taken against the officer. I submit, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Nyambose.
Yeah. I want to find out from the council secretary and the team, and specifically I would draw the internal auditor. How effective is the audit process? At which point, number two, at which point did you realize that these receipt books and these other accountable document were missing? At which point did you realize if these books were being audited? Then, lastly, what actions and when were these actions taken against this erring officer before dismissal? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, you may go ahead.
Internal auditor can shed some light.
Thank you, Chair. As the internal audit section, usually when the revenue collectors are given the receipt books, when they return, as internal audit, we usually go through it and then we submit to finance section. And how effective do we do this? Previously, we used to do it at the end of the year, and when we noticed about these receipt books, it happened early last year when we were doing our post-audit, when we noticed that we have some unreturned receipt books, and then we had to write the CS and management concerning the same. We have our report here, which is supporting the same. So the time the external auditors came to do the audit, we had already done that. And then the actions that we've taken so far, after we noticed that this is what has happened before, as internal audit section, we've decided to do it quarterly to review. We usually do the pre-audit before, when they are cashing in, we do pre-audit, and then we also do post-audit. Now for the receipt books, when they return them, we've decided to be doing them quarterly instead for waiting just for a year to end. So as we speak now, we've been carrying this process in a quarterly basis. I submit.
Yes, Honorable Nyambose.
A follow-up question. Very interesting. Before they cash in, they pass through the audit section every day. When did you realize that these books were not being audited, or this particular revenue collector was not cashing in? Because if the books were missing, how were they cashing in? Treasurer, you can come in. At which point did you realize that these books were not there? If they are, we check them at audit on daily basis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. These particular receipt books were being audited daily as the statement of the internal auditor. It's unfortunate that the last part of it is the last part of the receipt books is where we discover that this officer actually stopped presenting them for audit, and that's the first time that actually we took up the matter, because we realized that these receipt books are not being presented for audit, and that's the time that the matter was even reported to the police. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Nyambose, quickly.
Chair, the treasurer indicates to say these books were being audited daily, checked daily, and cashing in daily. Then if he is now misleading this committee somehow, he's saying the last part of the book. What do you mean, treasurer? My assumption is that if this person was cashing in, you don't have 1,000 revenue collectors, very few. And you know each and every revenue collector at your council. And this particular revenue collector is cashing in every day, is being audited every day. At which point did you realize, and what actions did you take after 2-3 days of that particular revenue collector not coming to cash in with the same receipt book? At which period did you take action? Thank you. And what was that action? Thank you, Chair.
I think we need answers on those quickly.
Chair, thank you so much. I think let me correct myself. It's not the last receipt book, it's the leaves. I meant the leaves of the receipt books, because part of the leaves were actually accounted for. Now the other ones, when the receipt books cease to be presented for audit, that's when we realize that these books are missing. I submit, Chair.
Yeah, Honorable Nyambose, then Honorable.
If the audit, I'm coming back to you, internal auditor. Someone is coming to cash in. I've worked in that department, for your information. I cannot go to the cashier or to the treasurer before being audited. And the amounts indicated that I'm submitting so much. And you audit every day. Some leaves go missing without the internal auditor realizing or suspecting. Then it comes. You had that report, you say you did it before the external auditors. What actions before just submitting that report? Where did that report go to the council secretary? On criminal activities of stealing monies belonging to the public by an individual. What actions did you take? Leaves are missing, and you are passing that auditor to submit to the accounts, to the treasurer. Treasurer, you're not satisfying me. Thank you.
Just an addition, Chair. Maybe Treasurer, if you can explain to us how it works. The same receipt books, they will go correct revenue, come back, they are audited, again tomorrow they will go with the same receipt book.
Chair, that is correct.
So what you are telling us is that doing that, then when the book was going towards the end, then this person just didn't bring those receipt books, meaning he didn't even show up to come and cash in.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, Chair. When he was asked about the whereabouts of the receipt book, he started giving us explanation, and it is at that point that we reported the matter to the police.
How many days was it?
I think it took a few days for us to realize that actually the issue was serious. This person is failing to present
the point at which now you questioned from the last audit? How many days was it?
Maybe the auditor will help me on that one.
Just to take you back from concerning the same, usually what happens is, as I mentioned earlier, to say these people, the revenue collectors, they usually pass through our office so that we audit them. So it was when we noticed that this person is not reporting for work, he wasn't passing through our office. It was about 2 weeks. He wasn't passing through our office. Then that's when, as we were doing our pre-audit, we're like, how come this person is not showing up for work? So as we continued with our audit, that's when we noticed to say there were some other books that this person had not returned. And then after we did that, that's when we had to write to the CS and the management. That's when they started now the disciplinary process with that person. That's when they called upon that person to come forth.
So the revenue collectors, where you audit daily, they go 2 days, they are not showing up, 3 days, they are not showing up, 1 week, they are not showing up, 2 weeks. That's when you come to realize this person is not showing up.
At first, we had received from his friends reports to say he's sick. So in short, the exculpatory letter will help us in his reasoning as into why he wasn't showing up. This person was doing business with another person. That's why he wasn't even showing up for work.
Internal auditor, yes, the explanation from him will get it. What we are saying is you realizing this person is not bringing money, is not showing up after 2 weeks. That's what we want to understand. Why should it take 2 weeks for you to notice the person who brings money every day is not coming?
Thank you, Chair. As the auditor indicated, this person initially had given an excuse of not being well. So when we realized that it's taking long, we had actually to send our council police officers and the finance officers to go to his home to find out exactly what is transpiring. And it's at this point that we realized that he couldn't account for these receipt books. I submit, Chair.
I think last question on that topic. Yes, Honorable Nyambose.
Chair, according to the conditions of service that are in place in the law government or public service, absconding oneself for more than 10 days, 10 days consecutively, without permission or written authority is instant dismissal. Council Secretary, what actions did you take to institute the conditions of service for this officer who had appeared keeping financial or accountable documents for 2 weeks? That's why I asked earlier, at which point did you take action? Because 10 days is instant dismissal. Police, someone is supposed to be reported to police. Did you take these actions? Thank you.
You may answer that one, then we go to another topic. We're almost winding up now. Honorable Kolala, unless you promise me it's on the last, really last.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, let's wait for the last one.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can just put it now.
Yes. The other question was, I really wanted to understand from you. Your revenue collector, when he's sick, goes home. It means those days you'll be sick, you don't correct revenue. You wait till when he comes, that's when you start correcting revenue.
Thank you. Okay, may I go ahead, yes?
Thank you, Chair. In terms of disciplinary action, immediately this issue was unearthed. The officer was placed on suspension, especially that the act that he had committed was criminal. Yes, we could have gone by the way of instant dismissal, but also there is the risk of the funds that had been lost. So we had to go it the criminal way by reporting this matter to the police. And the evidence, I think, it's attached there. There is a police report to that effect. So disciplinary action was actually taken against this employee until ultimately a disciplinary hearing was held by the Local Government Service Commission, who are the employers, and they terminated his services from the council. So as it is, this gentleman has been dismissed. Then
yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Thank you, sir. In terms of the absence, thank you for that question, sir. What should happen ordinarily is if one revenue collector is absent on account of sickness or anything, there should be an immediate replacement so that the issue of collecting revenue does not suffer. That is how it is supposed to be, sir.
But do you do it? You say there should be. What do you do yourself?
That is what we do. We make an immediate replacement because revenue collection should not suffer.
That's what I'm trying to say. So when you say there should be, it's an assumption. But he wanted what you do.
Sorry, Chair, broken English.
So if you do that, meaning the receipt books must be available for that person who go in when that person is not around, isn't it? Do you go get other receipt books or you need to use the same receipt books?
I think in short, he's trying to find out.
Yes.
Where do they go with these receipt books home, or where do they put them?
Yes, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair. We actually do a replacement. These revenue collectors, they have got specific areas where they operate from. So when this gentleman was reported to be unwell, we had to assign other revenue collectors to cover up that area of his operation. At the same time, we had to make a follow-up to retrieve the receipt books as is actually on off sick. And this is at the point that upon retrieving the book that we realized that actually not all the receipt books were available. I submit, Chair.
Yeah, I think we are almost winding up now. I don't know whether there's any grave situation that we would like members of parliament. If not, if there's any, yeah.
Page 9, Chair.
Yes, please go ahead.
Management of payroll and other staff-related matters. Irregular payment of non-detrimental clause. Page 9, Chair. I wanted to find out from the council secretary and the team that they were paying a certain officer who was transferred from Ndola Council over 4,000 kwacha per month. Number one question, for how many months did the Senanga Council continue paying this wrong salary to this officer? And this non-detrimental clause of allowances, which were the allowances, if there were allowances that were being to this particular officer? And why did the council take long? Actually, you didn't take long. In 2020, you wrote to this particular officer indicating that the salary you are paying is a wrong salary. Why didn't you cease the payment of this salary, that it had to take the external auditors to capture it in the 2021 budget, audit? When you established that this salary was erroneously, or was someone was being paid a wrong salary in 2020, but you continued to pay this particular officer, which costed the council huge sums of money. How much was this officer paid in total wrongly before you ceased paying? And why did you take long to act? And what is the current situation? Thank you.
Council Treasurer.
Thank you, Chair. When the officer was transferred to Senanga Station, we realized that there was this allowance in the block figure called outlier, we engaged the officer who produced the statement. That's the pay statement from Dollar City Council. Thereafter, we are not justified. We had the management wrote to Dollar City Council for the explanation of the same, of which response was not availed in time. I submit, Chair.
No, thank you very much. I think we come to the last question now.
yes.
We need to wind up. Yes.
Yes,
You
just-
switch
just-
off your mic, Treasurer.
You know, when we are asking, we've read. You've explained the processes till you had to put a stop to it. The question was the period. How long did it take and why?
Last question.
I think the Deputy Council Secretary would be come and assist me why it took so long.
Thank you, Chair. Why it took so long? We were waiting for a response from Dollar City Council because we wrote several times reminding them if they can send the justification why this person was getting the amount that is mentioned as an outlier.
You couldn't phone. You couldn't make a follow-up. These days there are phones, what have you, means of communication.
So, Chair, by law, what we're supposed to do, was it the way you did it? Or you were supposed to put it out and wait for clarification?
Thank you, Chair. By law, since that person came with the salary scale that she was getting, so we are waiting for justification from Dollar City Council.
For how long did you have to wait?
The period was about 6 months, Chair.
Just to get a scale where somebody was in.
I used to call even the director, Dollar. I used to call him to remind him if he can send something, a document that will justify why that person was getting that amount. I submit, Chair.
Anyway, see, it's too true to believe. It's like if somebody did not come and tells you, I didn't come, tells you the truth, sometimes it's too true to believe. We've come to an end. We are winding up one.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair.
That should really be last now.
I'm sure
Yeah.
maybe they have already asked about the management of CDF.
No, no one has talked about
I
it.
wanted to find out why, as of 30th September 2022, you had this huge balance of 2,838,147 without using it to the intended projects. That is on page 14.
CS, that's the last question for you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll ask Director of Works.
Thank you very much, Chair. The main reason why there had been a number of delays in the utilization of the CDF fund for 2022 was mainly because I think these projects were approved by May. By the time that I came, they had already been approved. I reported at Senanga in August. And following which, we had requested for works to commence. However, we had no procurement committee by then, because some of the members that were supposed to sit on the committee had expired memberships. So it took some time for those members to be constituted, for clearance even with the Office of the President, and other processes that followed after, some approvals, and we ended up just having these works commencing last February. Thank you very much.
Yeah, not very, thank you. I think you can put your, we have come to an end now. Permanent witnesses, maybe you can, if you have any comments to make.
Thank you, Chair. Council Secretary, from the Office of the Auditor General, we take note of your submission. We'll be coming to audit you for the 2022, and also we'll be coming to verify the submission that you have made to this committee. So ensure that the records are in order as we come to verify. Thank you, Chair.
CS and the team, I want to give an advice on revenue. Hearing from the conversation, I've noticed that you have a number of weaknesses in revenue management. One, non-adherence to laws. We know that revenue is supposed to be banked in the next business day. Where there is no banking facility is two weeks, twice a month. If this was adhered to, you are going to be able to notice that this officer is not bringing in the revenue. And then we have also seen your monitoring is not okay. You need to improve on the monitoring of revenue. Revenue is the lifeblood of the organization. And if we are not getting that revenue, we are not going to run. And then I have also noticed that there is also a duplication in terms of revenue management. You have let the auditors are not doing revenue audit. By auditors checking revenue every day, it means we call it dancing with the enemy. Because how are they going to look? The same issue that the accountant is looking is what the auditor also is looking at. So let the auditor audit the revenue, and the monitoring, daily monitoring should be for accountants. Because the auditor doesn't know how many books goes into the field when the accountant knows. So it's difficult. Let the audit function carry its activities. It will be easier for you to notice the issues. Because even when you are saying that you noticed during the audit, the treasurer says they noticed when the accountant, the officer got sick. So it means that there is something that we need to improve. Please let us improve on the audit part, and then the monitoring part, and then the adherence to the laws. Then we'll get the revenue that is needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Senanga, we've seen a few positive variances on your budget performance, and probably most of this was because of the grants that the central government was sending to you. So probably we still need to work very hard in terms of revenue and make sure we see all our revenue pilferages and leakages that might be there. And of course, you need consistent budget reviews. That's very important to help you allow for budget flexing, especially through the ministry. Aside from that, you need to enforce your internal controls, as has been alluded to by the Honorable Committee and permanent witnesses. We need to enforce that as we manage the public funds for effective service delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think for me, much has been said by my colleagues. I will mostly dwell on the issue of land, traditional land, where people budget for it when things have not been concluded. We have observed that in most of the councils. I think we should, the councils should make sure that all due processes have been concluded. That's when you can put these such issues in your budget. Like this, even then when you had put it, you should have done the budget flexing, which I've seen most of the councils, they don't do budget flexing. When you review your budget, maybe in the first quarter, second quarter, by the third quarter, you are able to see that this income is not going to materialize. Then you can apply for budget flexing or budget adjustment. I submit, Chair.
Thank you. Yes. For me, I noticed you are giving most of your workers to answer. As you prepare this document, you should have it on your fingertip. And I'm sure you are in charge of whatever happens in your council, so to be familiar with the information. So everything you are referring to your workers, you're supposed to be on top of the game and get to know what happens in your institution, so that you are able to explain here. Yes, we are not saying you can't refer, you can refer, but you overdid it. And when you are doing this report, you must have been fully involved, so that every information that we are talking about here, you are confident with it. And then coming to missing receipt books is very embarrassing. Whether it's audit department, CS, this should not happen again. You know, We're tired of having, we are the only council actually that has come this year with missing receipt books. That language has finished. So these are documents that should never miss. And if they miss, it means your system has got a lot of loopholes that needs to be sealed in. So you get the bottom of this and make sure it doesn't happen again. Budget variance here, positive 2.9. You're hiding something. You know? How do you have 2.9 more money? It doesn't mean when you have more money, then it's not a query. It's an audit query. So it means your budgeting really, it leaves much to be desired. You have to improve in this area so that it balances. This does not show that your budgeting is okay. A budget variation of 2.9 million, that's too much. You know, even if it's positive, that leads to a budget because maybe you were underscoring because you're not working very hard. So how do we know now? If you had budgeted properly, maybe would have made more money than this money you made. So you're trying to hide something. If you have a positive variation of that nature, which is very difficult to justify. The dump site too. This is what the council is there for. Actually, for me, before you build the offices for the council, you must make sure the dump site is there. Because garbage collection is part of your job. Very serious one. So if the dump site is neglected, then what's the work of the council? So please, as you go back, make sure that these things are sorted out. That's your main core of business. CDF leaving so much money unused. Failure to use money is negligence of duty and is supposed to be charged. You make sure that this money is utilized. And then look now, we have now last year 25 million, 28 million. If you are failing to utilize 3 million, how then are you going to manage 25, 28 million? You know? So you really have to up your game in getting all these things done. Statutory obligations. This even includes you. You know? I don't know why it has become fashionable in the council not to have statutory obligations done. A salary can't be complete if NAPSA is not there. That's not a salary. So as you give the salary, make sure that all the components are there. So if one worker now retires and his or her submission to NAPSA, LASIF are not complete, this worker will not get his benefits or her benefits. That's how grave it is. So these, as you make salaries, should not happen. In other areas, there are no statutory obligation owing. No. So this should stop and make sure that it is done. Now we've come to the end of the session. Thank you very much for coming and wish you well. Now that we have come to the end, Cap 12 is now removed and travel safely to Senanga. I'm hoping we won't see you next year. Thank you.
Yeah. On behalf of my colleagues, we also wish you well and your committee so that you can continue giving the much needed guidance so that we move our country forward.
Thank you very much.
I thank you, Chair.
Yeah, travel safely. You may now leave.
My name is Christopher Kangombe, Member of Parliament for the good people of Kamfinsa constituency. I was born in Kitwe. I basically did all my education in Kitwe. Started my primary school in where I am today at Justin Kawe Basic School in Indeke. Went to Kitwe Boys Secondary School in Kitwe, and later on I pursued a degree in electrical mechanical engineering, where I graduated at CBU. I think should have been 2009 thereabout. At that time I was already doing civic work. I was already an elected councillor in an area called Riverside in Kitwe, and of course later on I was privileged to have been given an opportunity by the people of Kitwe to work as mayor of the city in between 2016 and 2021. Then of course last year I got an opportunity to represent the community where I was raised, where I grew up, which is Kamfinsa constituency. I am married. I'm a father of 3 children. I think the eldest must be 10. Yes, 10. The second born is 8 and the last one is 5. Yeah, professionally I've worked for Mopani Copper Mines. I used to as an assistant engineer there. I worked for Luansha Copper Mines, and before going full-time into civic work and political work, I worked for a company called Atlas Copco, where I was selling mining equipment. So I happen to have an understanding of what happens in the private sector. I also have an understanding of what happens in governance. So it's been a great honor reaching this stage where now I can come to Parliament and come and not only represent the people of Kamfinsa, but also try and urge government. You know, our role as parliamentarians is to provide oversight. I love watching football. If I was not an engineer, I think I would have been a very good football player. I read a lot. It's good to read. As a leader, you have to read, because when you are reading, you tend to understand what is happening globally, you tend to understand history, and you tend to understand so many different aspects. Kamfinsa constituency is the first constituency as you enter Kitwe. So on your right, where the boundary with Ndola ends, Kamfinsa starts. So the entire farm block, where the prison is, you go further with the boundary with, is it Mufulira, Ndola Road, that boundary, that is the outer boundary. You come to Ndeke, Kitwe, Mlenga compound, Mkuba na Twange, that is the geographical description of Kamfinsa. Of course, we have challenges in the constituency. We have challenges of water. I was raising an issue earlier with our Honour the Vice President, asking government to work on the water supply network in the constituency. We did start a project, I think in 2019, under Nkana Water and Sewerage, but the project could not proceed because a few things had to be changed. So we have challenges of water. We of course have challenges of unemployment, just like any other constituency. And with more young people finishing school, I think it will continue to pose as a challenge. And I'm hoping that we could find solutions here and also in the constituency, and of course other stakeholders. We are predominantly an agriculture economy. Most people do agriculture, but majority of them on the urban side of the constituency do trading. Some of them work in the mines. So what is happening on the copper belt, Mopani operations, KCM operations do affect directly our people in the constituency. And of course we have a lot of people in the informal sector, those that go into Sokone market to sell their commodities. So those are some of the key players in the constituency. And of course I want to thank the clergy in the constituency, because they've helped us whenever we want to sensitize the public about things like constituency development fund. We go through churches, we inform the churches, we ask them, can we do an announcement? And once we do that, the information goes out there, which is very useful. And I think that we have local strategies on how we are coping with some of these challenges, but obviously ultimately we need central government support. We've started with basic infrastructure. We need to educate as many people in the constituency. I would want the constituency to produce more engineers. I want the constituency to produce more doctors, more teachers, more journalists, people that can come and contribute to the economy of our country. So of course our primary objective is to provide health infrastructure and also provide educational infrastructure. We have a hospital, what used to be a clinic, Ndeke Village Clinic in Ndeke Village, that we are now upgrading. The previous government did commence the upgrading works. We have a maternity wing now, and now we want to add a mortuary, a theatre and other things, so that that health facility in Ndeke Village could cater for that catchment area. We also want to upgrade Zamtan Clinic also into a facility with support infrastructure. We also want to upgrade primary schools into secondary schools so that when children finish grade 7, they quickly go into grade 8, 9 up to grade 12. So part of the constituency development fund, we have channeled it towards adding 4 more classes. We want to finish classes at Wesley Nyerenda. We want to finish 3 classes at Mlenga Primary. We want to do the same in all the other schools that we have in the constituency, so that we shorten the distances. We don't want a challenge where when someone finishes their grade 7, they have to walk a long distance. That's one of the strategies we are using. We are also doing bridges. We want people to be able to connect, and that is why earlier this week I did raise an issue with the Minister of Infrastructure that our farmers need to have their bridges worked on, so that they can transport their farm produce, so that they can transport their farm inputs, and so that we can have the economic activity happening in the farm block of the constituency. So it's education, health, general infrastructure like bridges. We also have roadworks that we want to work on, and we have allocated from the constituency development funds for this year about 600,000 kwacha, which will go towards fuel for the council to grade our roads. It's a wide scope of things that we want to do, but ultimately I want us to simplify the empowerment programs. The way the empowerment programs have been designed, I feel will not yield the right results. The issue of cooperatives, we've had challenges. People form cooperatives, they get the money, they have challenges starting a business, yet they asked for money to start a business. So I did ask our colleagues in central government if we can redesign empowerment programs. So that is on my agenda for this year. Before 2022 comes to an end, we should be able to say we think we can do empowerment programs in this fashion, and I think that that is some of the things that we are working on. So pretty much it's health, education, the basic things that everyone talks about, but localized to the needs of the people in Kamfinsa. The residents of Kamfinsa, of course, gave me an opportunity to come here and speak for them, and I think that whenever we ask questions in Parliament, mostly it is issues affecting our young people, issues affecting the constituency, issues affecting Mulenga compound. I would want to assure them that it may not be done, everything may not be done in 5 years, but we are going to lay the foundation, and we are going to demonstrate that some of the priorities have been attended to. We are going to ensure that educational infrastructure, the schools out there are worked on. We are going to ensure that we provide the necessary blueprint for working on roads. Those are our priorities, because if we do those things, I think that the economy of the constituency will be active. I also want to assure the residents that the challenges of water will continue to be presented to Parliament, because if I don't speak, I think that government may not give those issues the right amount of attention. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have been elected Member of Parliament. It's been a great journey so far, and I want it to be a leadership that represents the needs of our people.
My name is Achinga Muto. I was born in Kalabo, somewhere there in 1962. From that time, I've lived in Kalabo. I started my school, primary school, 1969. Then I proceeded to secondary school. My primary school was at Lyumba, now they call it Lyumba Day Secondary School, but we used to call it Lyumba Hill Mission School. So from there, I proceeded to Kalabo Secondary School for my secondary school, which those days it was from 1 to from 5. Then after from 5, I went for national service, and that was 1980, somewhere in November, December. From national service, I proceeded to David Livingstone, where I did my primary school teaching. And I completed in 1985, and thereupon, I started work. So I've been working as a teacher up to the time when I felt, I don't know what came into me, and I was bored with teaching. Somehow, I was to attempt this other field. So I resigned from teaching and joined this political world. My first contest, I lost because I contested. Then I came number 2 as an independent person, and that gave me an encouragement that, okay, then I can proceed. So 2011, that was my first win. I won through a party ticket of UPND. So I came here in 2011, 2016 again I won, and this one, 2021, is my 3rd one. So I've come to like the job. I've come to interact with a lot of people. I think for Kalabo Central, I've come to like it. I'm married, and I have a family. Yes, so we are quite married people, and we are elderly. We have even acquired grandchildren. Kalabo Central, me, I classify it as a remote constituency. Despite having the township part, but the rest of the constituency, to me, is rural and remote. Remote in the sense that previously you could not reach there by phone, radios could not reach, and forget of TV, you forget of the newspapers. All what you could see are just human to human interaction. So it's purely remote. We don't even have a road. There are no gravel roads. There are no feeder roads. Our roads, me, I classify them as earth roads. Why? It's because it's the vehicles which make those roads. So they are not roads as such. They are just passages where we are able to struggle. I'm using the word struggle. Western Province, and in Kalabo in particular, is a sandy place. Proper sand, like the sand that you find at the beach. That is the type of soil we have there. So these simple single-wheeled vehicles can't persist there. All you need are only 4-wheeled vehicles. That constituency, when I got in, we had a number of schools which had no permanent structures. So we had to struggle. Fortunate enough, when we got in, this was the time when there was also the CDF, though the amounts were those low levels, but we used the same low level amounts of CDF to bring up permanent structures in all the schools. Our primary schools have permanent classroom blocks. The only school
Beginning with introductions, members of parliament to introduce themselves. Permanent witnesses, then you have to introduce yourselves.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mwandi Town Council, you are most welcome. My name is Honorable Simumba Lucas, Member of Parliament for Nakonde, and also a member of this committee. You are most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome, Mwandi. I'm Wesley Kolala, Member of Parliament for the full constituency in Ngabwe District, Central Province. Thank you.
Good morning, Mwandi, and welcome. My name is Akabaso Kampampi, Member of Parliament for Mwansalombe constituency. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Team Mwandi, Chitaluchulufia. My name, Master Central.
Thank you. Permanent witnesses?
Thank you, Chair. Mwandi Council, good morning. My name is Chishimba Mwewa from the Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning, Mwandi. My name is Handong Wedonfree, Principal Auditor from Auditor General's Office.
Good morning, Mwandi. Good morning, Chair. My name is Abukolo Charles from Auditor General.
Good morning, CS and the team. My name is Martha Ndlovu from the Office of the Controller of Internal Audit.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Mwandi. My name is Mumbasaka from the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Office of Accountant General.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Mwandi. My name's Edwin Sirwimba from Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Thank you.
CS, you may introduce yourself and your members as well.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. And good morning, permanent witnesses. My name is Alisindana, Council Secretary Mwandi. Have been with the Mwandi Council since May last year. Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, would ask also the other members to say how long they have been at your council. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning to the permanent witnesses. My name is Lawless Mudenda. I'm the Council Treasurer for Mwandi Town Council. I've been with Mwandi for 2 years and 9 months. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. My name is Namirukona Mirko, Director of Works for Mwandi Town Council.
Maybe you could speak a bit louder.
Good morning once more. My name is Namirukona Mirko. I'm the Director of Works for Mwandi Town Council.
Okay.
I've been at the station since 2019.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
The only lady.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning.
Good morning, members of Parliament. My name is Inonge Mkupili, the District Planning Officer. I've been at Mwandi Town Council since 2017.
You can come and use one of the mics. Okay.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Ashley Aponde. I'm the internal. My name is Ashley Aponde. I'm the internal auditor for Mwandi Town Council. I've been at the council since 2019.
Okay.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
And good morning, honorable members of Parliament.
Morning.
My name is John Mkupa, the Health Inspector for Mwandi Town Council, and I've been with Mwandi Town Council since May 2020.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and my name's Harry Kamboni, Member of Parliament for Karomo Central and the Chair for this particular meeting. Now that this is main Parliament, you are granted the CRAP 12 on the basis that what you tell us is the truth and nothing else. But in case we decide to go the other way around, the same CRAP 12 can tie you. But it's my belief that you stick to telling us the truth. You may go ahead and take us through your paper, preferably if you could spend not more than 30 minutes. We'll greatly appreciate. So you read the title, then you go to the cause of query, and what is down, you continue reading up remedial and action, whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Local taxes. A cause of query, Chair. Mwandi Town Council wishes to report that the overcollection on this budget line was a result of strategies, in brackets, public sensitization and efficient collection methods put in place to improve local generated revenue. Action taken. Mwandi Town Council has ensured continuous revision of the revenue collection process in order to come up with the most effective and efficient method of revenue collection. Remedial measure. Mwandi Town Council ensure prompt update of the revenue database which will provide the basis for budgeting. Mandi Town Council is determined to continuously improve the collection of the revenue. Fees and charges, Chair. Cause of query. Mandi Town Council wishes to report that the under-collection on the budget line was a result of poor response to the plot advertisement, resulting in the failure to attain the budget targets. Action taken. We acknowledge the observation of the auditor. The cause of the underperformance in the collection of plot premiums was due to the fact that the applicants never responded to the invitation to treaty that the council sent to them. In addition, the council assumed that the applicants were no longer interested in the plots that they applied for because there is a clause in the invitation to treaty which states that in the event that the premium amount is not paid within a period of 3 months from the date given, council will assume that the applicant is no longer interested in the plot and the same will be repossessed and be offered to another developer. Find attached the invitation to treaty as Appendix 2. Arising from over mentioned, Mandi Town Council re-advertised the plots. The council has sought for permission from Minister of Lands to attend to clients on first come, first served basis. Find attached the Appendix 2. Remedial measure. Mandi Town Council shall intensify publicity on the availability of the plots. Lance's Chair, cause of query. Mandi Town Council wishes to report that overcollection on this budget line was the result of strategies such as the formulation of revenue task force, orientation of revenue collectors, and agents on the collection efficiency, and updating of the revenue database for ease monitoring and evaluation to enhance the locally generated revenue. Action taken. Mandi Town Council has ensured continuous revision of the revenue collection process in order to come up with the most effective and efficient method of revenue collection. Remedial measure. Mandi Town Council ensure prompt update of revenue database, which will provide the basis for budgeting. Mandi Town Council is determined to continuously improve the collection of revenue. Levies, cause of query. Mandi Town Council wishes to report that the overcollection on this budget line was a result of strategies as formulation of revenue database, revenue tax force, orientation of revenue collectors and agents on the collection of efficiency, collection efficiency and updating of the revenue database for ease monitoring and evaluation to enhance locally generated revenue. Action taken. Mandi Town Council has ensured continuous revision of the revenue collection process in order to come up with the most effective and efficient method of revenue collection. Remedial measure. Mandi Town Council ensure prompt update of the revenue database, which will provide basis for budgeting. Mandi Town Council is determined to continuously improve the collection of revenue. Permits, Chair. Cause of query. Mandi Town Council wishes to report that the under-collection on this budget line was due to delayed enforcement of statutory obligations such as charges on the transportation of meat products and issuance of fire certificates. Action taken. Mandi Town Council acknowledges the observation by the auditor and wishes to report that strategies to improve revenue collection were implemented. Currently for performance on the MTF ABB budget 22 was above 100%, and see attached budget performance as Appendix 1. Mandi Town Council has since implemented statutory obligations such as charges on the transportation of meat products and issuance of fire certificates. Remedial measure. Mandi Town Council ensure prompt update of the revenue database, which will improve a basis for budgeting. Other income, Chair. Cause of query. The under-collection on locally generated revenue was mainly on the other income budget line. This particular budget line is used to provide for income that are not specified. In the case of Mandi Town Council, this budget line is used for hire of earth-moving equipment, in brackets tipper truck, backhoe loader, and the tractor. The tipper truck and the TLB had mechanical faults from July 2021 to September 2022. Further, the driver assigned to operate the machinery resigned, presenting additional challenges to the hire of the equipment. Action taken. Mwandi Town Council acknowledges the observation by the auditor. The council has since repaired the machinery and currently operational. Further, authority was sought from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to employ a machine operator, and the authority was granted. The operator was since employed. Find attached the resignation letter from the former employee and the appointment letter from the council. Remedial measure. The council has noted the financial loss due to the breakdown of the machinery and will endeavor to repair all machinery in time to avoid future losses. Management to ensure that regular services on the earth-moving equipment is done. National Support Chair, cause of query, Local Government Equalization Fund, cause of query, Mwandi Town Council wishes to report that under receipt on this budget was due to the deduction at source, such as LASIF and Zulao. Action taken, Mwandi Town Council endeavors to update ledgers and effect the necessary changes as may be guided the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Remedial measure, Mwandi Town Council ensure that the budget is adjusted in order to reconcile the amounts received as Local Government Equalization Fund and the amount budgeted. Chair, other grants, cause of query. Mwandi Town Council wishes to report that over receipt on this budget was a result of requesting the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development for financial assistance. See Appendix 4, Chair. Action taken, remedial measure. Mwandi Town Council has continued to rely on the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development for other grants when it faces liquidity challenges for meaningful municipality services. B, operational matters, Chair. Cause of query. Lack of firefighting services. Cause of query. The Local Government Service Commission has not deployed fire officers to man the brigades. Action taken. We acknowledge the auditor's observation. However, the Local Government Service Commission directed to include a budget provision for the operationalization of the fire brigades at Mwandi Town Council, and 6 officers were therefore being provided for in the approved budget for 2023, Chair. Mwandi Town Council has made a provision in the budget estimate for the years 2023 to 2025 period for the recruitment of 6 fire officers as guided by the Local Government Service Commission in the letter dated 29 September 2022, see Appendix 5. Remedial measure, Mwandi Town Council ensure that fire officers are recruited as guided by the Local Government Service Commission once the budget is approved. Environmental Management Chair, cause of query, poor management of Mwandi dam sites. Cause of query, the Council acknowledged the observation by the auditors. Nonetheless, Mwandi Town Council currently operates from Mwandi Royal Village, where the Barros Royal Establishment, BRI, is the custodian of land. The Council has been given a temporary dam site awaiting allocation of a permanent site. Further, the fires at the unprotected relief dam sites are caused by scavengers who, in this given scenario, have illegal daily access to the dam sites. Action taken. The Council wishes to report the following. Mwandi Town Council officially requested for a piece of land from the Barros Royal Establishment, Mwandi Kuta, to construct a dam site intended for the facility to service Mwandi Royal Village. See Appendix 6. The Council has covered the waste with a layer of soil to avoid health hazards to the community. See Appendix 6. The Council has so far fenced the temporal dam site. See Appendix 6. Remedial measure. The Council management wishes to report the following. Mwandi Town Council, in this particular aspect, will endeavor to engage the local leadership and general public by the way of community sensitization on the significance of the dam site. Going forward, Mandi Town Council will be using front-end backhoe loader to compact and cover the refuse with a layer of the soil. Lack of receptacles at the market. Cause of query, Chair. Mandi Town Council has noted the observation by the auditor. Mandi main market waste bins are worn out, resulting in indiscriminate disposal of waste. Further, we wish to state that Mandi main market has a waste holding bay which is underutilized by the community. Action taken. Mandi Town Council has since procured waste receptacles. The remedial measure. Mandi Town Council has embarked on continuous community sanitation by the use of public address system on proper solids management to avoid indiscriminate disposal of waste. C. Accounting for revenue. Cause of query, Chair. Failure to collect premiums. Cause of query. Mandi Town Council wishes to report that failure to collect revenue plot premiums was due to poor response. The plot advertisement resulted in the failure to attain the budget targets. Mandi Town Council sought for authority to attend to plot applicants without an advert on first-come, first-served basis from the Ministry of Lands, Provincial Lands Office, and authority was granted. See Appendix 2. Remedial measure. Mandi Town Council has embarked on publicity through community sensitization, opening up of feeder roads. Further, Mandi Town Council has opened up a commercial venture to make a plot more marketable in the township area. Management of local government equalization funds. Construction of a shopping complex. Cause of query. The initial contract document for Dukwe Movie Contractors Limited were not availed at the time of the audit because the contracts were housed at the Minister of Infrastructure Provincial Office in Mungu, as the project was initially managed by the above-mentioned. The project stalled because of, at the time of installing the roof, defects such as cracks on the load bearing walls were observed on the structure, which prompted management to engage the Minister of Infrastructure Provincial Office, who were in charge of the project from inception, in order to conduct an assessment so as to come up with the best solution for the completion of the project. Mandi Town Council has noted the observation of the auditor. However, the scope of works are specific to roofing only, as evidenced by the contract document which is attached to the report. Further, the total amount paid to the contractor as stated in the Auditor General's report amounting to 393,701 for materials on site, mobilization and advance payment. Find that attached payment vouchers. It should be noted that the amount totaling to 861,217 were works certified by the Minister of Infrastructure Provincial Office. The issuance of interim payment certificates, supervision and monitoring of the works was thoroughly done by the Provincial Office. Furthermore, the poor workmanship was observed and the contractor was instructed to redo the works as if evidenced in the site book. Find attached an extract of the site book. Action taken. An assessment was undertaken by Mandi Town Council in conjunction with the Minister of Infrastructure Provincial Office, and the recommendations were outlined in the report attached as Appendix 7. Remedial measure. Mandi Town Council has intensified monitoring and supervision on all civil works. Management of Constituent Development Fund, failure to utilize completed projects. Cause of query. Mandi Town Council wishes to report that the unutilized completed projects under Lusinina was due to lack of staff accommodation. Lack of running water and electricity made it difficult for the staff house at Sikuzu to be utilized. The teachers opted to rent within Mwandi Royal Village, where accommodation has running water and electricity. Action taken. Mandi Town Council acknowledges the observation by the auditor. However, the council handed over the Lucina Health Post and the Mother's Shelter to the Ministry of Health, the District Health Office. After engaging the Ministry of Health, District Health Office, they have since started the process of furnishing the health post in readiness for operations as at the date of this submission. The primary school staff was equally handed over to the District Education Board Secretary for use. See Appendix 8. Remedial measure, Mwandi Town Council Chair will constantly engage the relevant ministries on the quick utilization of all infrastructures, in brackets, facilities successfully completed and handed over to enhance service delivery. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much. Others do sign when they submit at the end. Make sure that no one adds something else again.
Sorry, Chair.
But you're welcome. Members of Parliament, you may now ask questions. Thank you. Doc?
Thank you very much. Council Secretary, I'll take you through issues to do with budget and income. And I will generally talk about revenue collection as well, since the two are linked. CS, bearing in mind the limitations of your location geographically, you have limited opportunities to raise revenue. What plans do you have to assure this committee that you raise adequate revenue for you to provide services to the people of Mandi?
Yes, you may go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, as a council, we have several plans put in place that if our dreams come true, we may try to raise more revenue to give a better service to the community. The council owns an abattoir. That, Chair, we are about to already opened. That
You
may
already open. Which one is correct?
already open, Chair.
Okay.
Yes. That in this case, when you look at Mwandi, we have a comparative advantage in terms of animals, cattle in particular. Of course, that is a comparative advantage across the province, but even Mwandi has that. So we felt that if we open an abattoir and we start give a service to the community in terms of slaughtering the animals, we'll still maybe try to raise some bit of revenue from there. And then
So far on the abattoir, how many animals roughly on average per day so far?
Chair, I've just opened, so basically I think if I may be correct.
Maybe the treasurer whoever can help. We just want to know how much you are raising from and how much you are charging per animal.
The slaughter fees, Chair, we are charging 40 kwacha per animal. Yes, so for how many we've done so far, because we haven't even concluded the month yet, okay, in terms of operations. So I wouldn't really know. We need to wait until maybe a month elapses. That's when we'll definitely give a report on how many we've actually slaughtered so far. Yes. Then, Chair, also we have the plan to actually do a track in along the main road in a place called Simungoma. Yeah, we have actually spoken to our parents, the BRI, who have promised to give us a piece of land, 10 hectares in size, so that we put up that structure. And on that structure, we want to do the track-in. Besides that, we also want to put accommodation as well, in terms of a lodge or a guest house. Then we felt that as we sat to discuss, we also felt, Chair, that we can engage ZRI so that we make it a one-stop shop where when trucks come to park, the ZRI can open their offices there so that they can actually levy trucks just within there, and we get a commission from there. So that is also a plan that we think we can put across. Thank you very much, Chair.
Doc again.
So, if you notice, my questions are between page 2 and page 7 rather. And I noticed that initially you were being apologetic for over-collecting on local revenue. And my view is that probably you should praise yourself for over-collecting on the premise that you have improved the mapping of your opportunities to collect revenue, and then talk more about upgrading your revenue database. And beyond that, we have seen under collection on levies, under collection on licenses, under collection on the use of, your machinery. Those under collections are the ones you need to address aggressively. And your commercial venture of the abattoir, also take note that you have the monopoly. And the charge you're beginning with of 40 kwacha, yes, you may need to sit and review. I may be speaking as a cattle boy who slaughters animals somewhere, but so 40 kwacha is a little on the lower side. So you may need to do an environmental scan and look at the business opportunity that you have, having the monopoly, bearing in mind that you've got limited opportunities to raise resources. Yeah. Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Thank you. Very good advice. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I'll take excuse from where Dr. Chirufya has ended. On page 2, Chair, there is an over-collected on vote number 1, local taxes, licenses, and levies. And you have attributed to over-collection as a result of some of the strategies, such as formulation of revenue tax forces and so forth. Now, I would want to ask a question. Why didn't you use the same method on other votes that there is a negative variance in collection, such as formulating the very, revenue tax forces? I submit, Chair.
May I have to answer that question now?
Thank you, Chair. That observation, Chair, is noted. But when you look at the charges, Chair, we actually delayed in collecting because of the nature of our district, Chair. We are operating in the royal village. But this has nothing, we're not taking away our good relationship that we're enjoying with our parents, the BRI, and the royal establishment, and the chief himself, Chair. So we have to work hand in hand with them, and that's why when you see the under collection here is that we're trying to, it's delayed actually, because people did not really understand it properly. Before the council was created, I think they were just enjoying slaughtering, for example, animals without any charges, and people could not take it in the first place. So we had to engage them. But for now, I think the response is a bit positive. We've started collecting a bit, because apart from the abattoir that we have in the Lutava area, there's a slaughter slab run by UCZ Church that people in the surrounding areas take their animals there. So that is where we're collecting this. But I think this time the response is positive. Thank you, Chair.
I would like to know, just Monday, some people say there's fish there. How much money roughly do you collect treasure from? I don't know whether a fish levy, I mean, one of the economic activities of Monday is fish. Do you collect any money from there? If so, roughly guide us how much you collect.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would refer to appendix number 1, where we have our receipts and payments. Basically, that is our budget performance. That is where we find fish levy. We collected as of 2022 130,000 only on fish levy. Chair, I submit.
When you mean as of 2022, is it 1 year or what?
Come again, Chair?
In 1 year or more than 1 year?
Chair, that is just for 1 year. That is 2022 to be specific.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, questions? Doc?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move you to page 9 on operational matters. CS, we noticed that you're planning to recruit fire officers between 2023 and 2025. First question is, do you have equipment for use? As you know, the importance of having fire equipment to protect property and is part of enabling the environment for business investment. So do you have the equipment to use as you talk about human capital for firefighting?
And if you don't have, what are you doing about it? It's another question. You can go ahead and answer.
Thank you very much, Chair. We don't have Chair. But I should think the central government knows the position of councils in as far as this issue is concerned. And we are waiting patiently, Chair, that one day we receive equipment to fight fire.
From who?
From central government, Chair.
Are you pushing them?
We are, Chair.
Do you have evidence?
And they know that. We haven't carried that evidence, but I think you've been talking with them. But that evidence at this particular time, Chair, is not there.
Okay. So when you're charging the licenses, do you charge also fire, whatever? Because
Yes.
I've seen some councils that charge that when they don't even have any firefighting machines. Do you charge fire?
With fire certificates, Chair, we charge.
For what when we don't have
we use we use officers from the nearby council. In our case, we use officers from Sesheke Town Council to help us raise this revenue in Mwandi.
Yes. From Sesheke to Mwandi, that road is actually impassable. You take more than 7 hours to reach. Can you use are you sure you can use Sesheke equipment to come to Mwandi?
In terms of fire certificates, Chair, we use the officers, the fire officers at Sesheke Council. They come to do that on our behalf. We actually pay for their logistics, Chair, but not necessarily equipment. But of course, if we, for example, if Sesheke has an equipment and we have a problem in Mwandi, that's the only place where we can run to.
Yeah, but it's not possible practically. It's not.
We would definitely ask for a firefighting equipment to come all the way from Sesheke to Mwandi for help.
Yes, just there. I said to come from Sesheke to Mwandi, that road is impassable. I've used it, and you take more than 5-6 hours. So it's not practicable. I'm asking because you see, the purpose of tax is that in the end you offer a service. And this is why people question. So you charge them fire, you don't have the equipment. If a house is burnt, you can't do anything. But you charge the people anyway. So you must make sure that any tax that you charge, you are able to offer a service. Some people don't even have any sewer lines, power line, and then they, in water, they are charging people sewer when there's no sewer. Honorable members, I don't know. Honorable, yes, Lakonde.
Thank you very much.
I think I can take you to page 13, Chair. Management of Local Government Equalization Fund, construction of a shopping complex. I'm interested on the Mlala Construction Enterprises. This is second contractor, who is Mlala Construction Enterprises, was paid an amount of 393,701, representing 80% of the total contract sum of 491. And by the audit time, the works didn't progress. I wanted to find out what type of work did this contract do for you to pay this particular amount, considering that the works are far from completion. I submit.
Thank you very much, Chair. When this contract was terminated by the provincial office, but it was awarded by that time, I think the total contract sum was 1,750,000. It was actually awarded by the provincial office. Then after some time, I think when the contractor was awarded, the first contractor, I think he abandoned site, I think for unknown reasons.
But Honorable, it's a very simple question. I don't know why you're complicating it. If you are asked, what's your name? I'll mention I'm Kambona. I don't have to mention the village where I come from. He wants to know what work was done with that amount of money that was paid.
It was the chair, it was a roof.
It was a what?
A roof, roofing.
All the money 393.
It was the roofing chair.
Yes, go ahead.
CS.
Yes.
When was the project expected to be completed, and what is the current state of the shopping complex?
I think on the project, that on the time frame, I think I'll ask my director of works to just come in a bit. But the status now is that I wouldn't hide. The status is not very good. The workmanship wasn't very good to start with. So it's just, it was built at up to gable level. And then the other contractor, after the termination of the area contract, came to put the roof. And the roof, I think, it couldn't fit very well because the structure started developing serious cracks. So that is the status.
Director of Work, why did you allow roofing to the wall that was not properly done?
Thank you so much, Chair.
And did you look at the drawing they were putting?
Thank you so much, Chair. As the CS has already explained, initially, Chair, the project was being supervised, managed by the Provincial Infrastructure Office. So immediately...
You mean the province was not working in conjunction with you?
No.
So how does it become your building then?
I think what happened was when the contractor, Chair...
This building was for what?
This is a shopping complex.
And the province which was supervising is from which ministry?
From Ministry of Infrastructure.
Pardon?
Ministry of Infrastructure, Chair.
Infrastructure.
Yes.
So how do you come in yourself?
We came in ourselves, Chair, when initially from the onset, after the contractor, Chair, abandoned the project. It stalled. This project initially started in 2017. Then from there, construction started up to the gable level. But it's from there where, Chair, the contractor, as the council secretary has already elaborated, abandoned the site and left the shopping complex for unknown reasons. So upon seeing that ourselves, we took it upon ourselves. I think that was 2021. where we went to Mongo. I think we to meet the PS by then, where it was after the fruitful meeting we had, where we advised Chair to ensure that the project is terminated so that we can see the way forward, ensuring that maybe we complete it ourselves. So that is what transpired.
Honorable Nyambose, then Honorable.
How do you terminate
Yeah,
a project which is not yours? Local Government Equalization Fund is administered by the council, yes or no? If it is yes, you have not explained to this committee why you were left out, and it was done by provincial planning authority. So we want to know what was your role on this project and who is the owner of this project. I read, Chair, here on page 13, Management of Local Government Equalization Fund, construction of a shopping complex. Who is the owner of the shopping complex? Why was the council sidelined? And why did the provincial local government authority, unit come in to do a project under the council? What was the role of the council? Those are the questions, Chair.
Yeah, because here, even when you read on 1st of July 20, the council engaged. If it's from the, that's why I asked, who is the owner of this building? You are bringing in Ministry of Infrastructure, but here the money is coming from Equalization Fund. First question now, who is the owner of this building?
Thank you very much, Chair. The owner of the building is the council. But when I mentioned earlier on, Chair, I alluded to the fact that the threshold was above the council then, because the money involved to do the construction of the entire building was 1,750,000. So it was contracted by the province because of the threshold. So the province was building on behalf of the council because of the
Yes,
threshold.
but what I'm saying, look here. If we are contracting the airport here, the Chinese are doing so, we need to have our own architect builders there. Because in terms of maintenance, we also have our own from Zambia here, 1 or 2, 3, to make sure that they learn. And so my point is the director of work, if the province are coming to build in his area, he has to be there to monitor equally. He's part of the team. So that's what I'm trying to say. At what level, now, I was going to go further to ask the director of work to say, where was he when such a structure that is not fit was being built? Because at every level you have to inspect and recommend.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think as the area elaborated, to say the infrastructure, Chair, was being managed by the province. So even the certification, the issuance of IPCs were still done by the province. Why it was done?
Were
like
you not, you see, there's procedure here. If in my constituency, the minister comes, I'm there. I'm there to receive him. I have interest there. Whether the minister, the vice president, the president comes in my constituency, I'm there along. And you as director of work, you were seeing that work, you are the owner. Except you are being helped. Why shouldn't you not be there to see this certification? Now that there is a problem, you want to detach yourself and only bring yourself on the roof. Yes.
I would want this project, this is the second contractor. And when you look at what the CS has submitted, is telling this committee to say the shopping mall for the second contractor, it was supposed to be 491 up to completion. Now, they paid Chair 393,701 just for roofing, leaving the other scope of works, which includes plastering, grazing, painting, and the decorations. And the balance is only 97,729. Now the question is this money amount equal to the works that has remained? I submit, Chair.
Director of Work.
Chair, thank you so much again for that wonderful question. The scope of works, Chair, when we took over after the first contractor abandoned the site, was specifically, Chair, to roofing only. So what is in the bill of quantities and the contract documents, Chair, was only to ensure that we install the roof only. So that 491,000 plus you are seeing there, Chair, was just for the roofing, not the entire structure.
Is that what it is all about?
No. Chair,
Maybe we could
I
read
think
the
maybe the CS can go through so that we follow each other. You present on
Treasurer, you put off your mic.
on page 13. Yes, the last part on first Shan, you continue from there, your submission. Page 13. The last on first, yes,
Yeah,
on first.
On 1st July 2021.
Yes, you can
That's
go through.
paragraph.
Thank you, Chair. On 1st July 2021, the Council engaged Mulala Construction Enterprise Limited to complete the construction of the shopping mall at a contract sum of 491,430, with a completion period of 3 months, commencing in July 2021 and ending in September 2021. The scope of works included the block and the framed timber works, framed steel works, lipped channels, roofing, plastering, glazing, painting, and decorations. As at 30 September 2022, the contractor has been paid amounts totaling to 301,701. A physical inspection carried out in September 2022 revealed that works had not been completed 12 months after the expected completion date. The outstanding works included block and framed timber works, framed steel works, lipped channels, roofing, plastering, glazing, and painting decorations. This was from the auditor's point of view.
So now, yeah, before Honorable Nyambose comes in, Director of Work, which one is correct now? Your view or what is written here?
Before. My little understanding is that the council secretary is coming from Wandi, the director is coming from another council. Are you coming from the same council? And are we looking at the same report? Because if we are looking at the same report, the director of works is clearly stating that no, it's not true what is written here. What was budgeted for was just roofing. Ends there. Then the council secretary is leading us into this report, which Honorable Smumba has taken us. Are you coming from the same council, or you are not taking this committee seriously? Thank you.
Chair, thank you very much, Chair. We come from the same council, Chair. For me, I think even when I started, Chair, I alluded to the fact that the contract was not executed properly in the first place.
How was this contract paid? Did the council buy the materials, or money was given to the contractor?
Chair, the money was actually given to the contractor to buy the materials, because the contractor requested for that.
Chair, earlier the director of works says the IPCs were being prepared by the contractor. Who was signing for the same IPCs, approving them? Were you paying according to the IPCs, or you just gave the money, the whole lot of the money to the contractor, then they do all the works? Because what I see here is total negligence on the part of the council. Wasteful expenditure and the negligence of the highest nature. Because you cannot spend this money like that, as highlighted by Honorable Simumba, and you are yet to spend more on the same project. Then you neglect to supervise whether the contract is given to the provincial unit, infrastructure unit, You are duty bound as a council, because this is your project, to monitor on the workmanship and also on the progress before you sign. Do you confirm having been wasteful and negligent on this project to allow these works to go at this pace? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I confirm, Chair. I think it wasn't done properly, and I apologize for
Yeah,
this.
so what was the motive? Because you see, here we have to look, like I said, was the council involved in the buying of the materials? Usually the council put gadgets so that you see money is not lost. You see? By either, you know, if the contractor comes to say, I'm buying this from Builders World, the council pay direct. They put some gadgets to safeguard the money. But where 393 just goes as a lamp. And usually workers will do this when they know they are also getting something from there. So what would deceive them from following even all this is because they know they've got a stake in that particular deal. And then look at the work that came. Money paid, work not properly done. And you ask the director of work, says, no, it was only for roofing. What is written? The building was supposed to complete. Why the discrepancy?
Yeah, on the same, I wanted to ask the Director of Works, was this money 491,430 only for roofing, or it was up to a completion? As of me, Chair.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chair. I think as earlier said or elaborated, the 491, Chair, was for roofing.
Director of Work, were you involved in the production of this report?
Let me
yeah, finish.
Maybe give me a chance, Chair.
Yes.
I think on page 14, on page 14, Chair, where it says the scope of works included block and framed timber works, framed steel, lift channels. These were observations of the auditor. This is not what was in the document, Chair.
Are you telling us that what the auditor has said is not correct?
It seems
and if it's not correct, why didn't you explain here further?
This is what I'm trying to explain, Chair, because we have even carried the contract documents.
Okay, may we have from the auditor, permanent witness? Maybe you can guide us, please.
Thank you, Chair. At the time of audit, Chair, when we requested for the actual contract, the contract was not availed.
The contract was not what? Maybe
the contract itself, the contract document was not availed.
Was not availed.
But inquiries with management, this is where we got the information which we put in the report. This is what the management explained to us. It is unfortunate that at the time that we wrote to them the management letter and also the DAP, they did not clarify to us that actually those were the works that they are now explaining now. It would have been better if they had given us this information they are giving now when we wrote to them, even at the DAP stage. I submit, Chair.
Okay. So, Director, why didn't you give the auditors the contract?
Chair, I don't know how it was missed, but
who knows?
The contract documents were there, Chair. Maybe we carried out by events.
Chair, I see it unethical and professional for a director of works to hide information to the auditors and now come now and purport that the auditors were wrong. It's not taking this committee seriously, Chair. Chair, we need serious presentations. We have evidence. The auditors will only rely on information that is given to them. You cannot, it's lack of taking audit process seriously. So if this was not given to the auditors, you just want to come and surprise us and say, no, these auditors were wrong. That is not in order. So it is unethical. When these are resources, Chair, I want to take some time. We are here because we are safeguarding public resources. How much has been spent and lost out of negligence of officers who are not taking these processes seriously? And if at the way, I would recommend disciplinary action, because at the time of audit, you're supposed to be serious. Give all the information. Auditors cannot just dream on their own. And the officers who had an exit meeting with auditors, they took the report as given to them. And someone was hiding a contract that no, I will surprise them during the appearance to the audit. It's not taking this committee serious. We must be serious with public resources. We are in these public offices, Chair, not because we are the best. We are just privileged. There are so many people out there with credentials that can do better and take work seriously than to do what is happening here on this committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'd just like to, as I know Chair is tapering this to a close, Engineer, Director of Works, I think the explanation, you're on firm ground when you say that the threshold for the council, was below so it was being managed at provincial administration. Just confidently state so. And we do know that when it is procured at that level, they are the ones who are supervising and they are the ones who are certifying those works. That's a professional position. You are on firm ground to state that. And when you took over, yes, there would have been need for harmonization. And I think the issue of the contract not being availed to the auditors, it will remain to be known whether the auditors asked for it and was not provided, or they did ask for it, or there was a break in communication. But it would be good to harmonize, this so that you bring this to a logical conclusion. I encourage you so, CS, because you've got limited commercial ventures, and this is one of your revenue spinners, and urge you to run through, very, very rapidly with this. Chair, with your indulgence, on environmental matters, the Environmental Management Act mandates the council to designate a place for solid waste management, for disposal of solid waste, or indeed any other form of solid waste. And so if you go to page 10, you realize that you had challenges in identifying a piece of land. Now, with institutional memory, I do know that the traditional leadership in Mwandi is very progressive and quite aggressive on development. And we did get a piece of land for construction of a mini hospital very quickly. And are you engaging them adequately to ensure that the public health of the community in Mwandi is enhanced by disposing of all forms of waste properly as demanded by the Environmental Management Act?
Chair, I think what I wanted to ask has been asked by Honorable Chilufya. But though, just a quick one maybe. Could it be that the council didn't care about this project knowing that it was being handled by the provincial administration? Because for something which you knew at the end of the day was going to be giving you more revenue, you could have taken keen interest when it comes to signing of the IPSs in terms of the stages where the project was going. I submit, Chair.
Very much, Chair. I think on the first question from Honorable, we are actually talking with BRIA, and our discussions are very advanced. They are promising that anytime they will actually give us a piece of land to service the royal village. And then we are already given again another piece of land in Rutaba where our township is actually situated. So for the royal village, there's no problem. Our relationship is very sound. Thank you very much. I think on the other one, I've no words. I think we didn't manage the project very well as a council, and I would like to apologize again. We did not handle the project very well. Thank you, Chair.
Allow me, Chair, to put it very clear.
Yes.
I want to start by analyzing the definition of local government. Local government is a government at the local level. And we must take interest to see and understand, even you as officers, who you are, your mandates, and everything. The local government chair does not relegate the council secretary. That's why you see the mayor is a citizen number one. And people should take interest. This team here is mandated to supervise and oversee any project, whether under the council, whether it is beyond the threshold of the council. The threshold of the procurement processes are guided. They can be procured at the province or national through the director of engineering. He is mandated to go and check whatever development is taking place in a particular community, in a particular district, and to make certain reports, side reports, to confirm whether those things are done properly. So I wanted to correct my colleague that that does not relegate. I'm happy the town clerk or the council secretary is appreciating what I'm talking about. So the negligence that has been exposed on this shopping mall, which is a council shopping mall, at the end of the day, cannot be overlooked. It's total negligence. This property is a council property. We should have taken interest. So on this particular case, the director engineering, the director of works, was not in order to neglect his duty. Then again, the audit processes. These audit processes, when you are being audited, you should take audit process seriously, especially chairperson. Especially council secretary and the team. Do not delegate to junior officers. You should take these audit processes because these are public resources. These resources could have developed Mandi. The people of Mandi are craving for change, for development. So any little money, any small money that is wasted cannot be excused. So director of works, whether these projects are taking place under Ministry of Health, you are duty bound to go and work with your colleagues. The way I'm doing in Chasefu, when you come to Chasefu, it's only the director of works. No, it's not only the director of works. Even people from engineering, people from infrastructure, people from health, they are coming, we're working as a team. You cannot work in silos. No more working in silos. So, Chair, I wanted to bring this to attention, that the local governance should be emphasized. Such negligence should not be condoned. These are public resources for the country. Thank you. I submit.
Any comment?
Noted, Chair. We've noted the observation. Thank you very much.
Now, I think the Auditor General's office said the contract, they asked for a contract, you didn't hand it in. Are you aware that failure to hand in the contract or what the auditor asked is a chargeable offense? Are you aware, Council Secretary?
I'm aware, Chair. I
Why
don't know the contract document that was not availed. Was it for the initial contract or the second one? Maybe I would like to get clarity. Because the initial contract is not with the council, it's with the provincial office.
I'm talking of when the audit has come.
We tried to ask for it, but they couldn't give us.
And what contract do you have now?
For the second contract, Chair. The contract is there.
The auditor, maybe you could comment on that. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I think at the time of audit, both contracts were not in place. And if the CS now confirms to the committee that they have the contract.
Come again?
At the time of audit, Chair, we didn't have both contracts. for the first and the second.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, Honorable Chief, maybe to clarify what you meant on this matter that we're talking about. Thank you.
Well, it's just important, Chair, that we respect professionalism. The director there is correct. When an IPS, when a contract is procured at provincial level, it's not his jurisdiction to supervise. So it's on firm ground just for the sake of the Hansard. The jurisdiction falls under the province, and therefore he only takes charge when the council takes charge. And the issue of thresholds is defined, and we should refer to these documents. So I just thought that should be corrected. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's have progress. Any more questions, members of parliament? Yes.
Thank you very much. Page 15, failure to utilize CDF, management of CDF, failure to utilize the completed projects. I wanted to find out what is the status of these projects. Lucinina Mother's Shelter, and also Skuze Staff House, as at now, as of me, Chair.
Yes.
As of now, Chair, they were completed and I think occupied. We've handed over to Minister of, to the respected departments. Thank you, Chair.
Come again?
We've handed over the infrastructure to the respected departments, Health and Education, Chair.
Any further questions? Honorable Mulunda.
Chair, just to make...
And maybe you could introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Honorable Mulunda, MP for Siavonga constituency, and of course a member of this committee. Just on the same, Chair, page 15. The query is failure to utilize the completed. But I'm looking at on the amounts that apart from the monies that you received in 2021 to the tune of 1.6 CDF, you had the 1.7 unutilized. How do that work out? Don't people need services in your constituency? Why didn't we use the money to the tune of 1.7 and then you receive 1.6? What happens? Chair, thank you.
Yeah, especially now that, you know, the following year you were receiving about 25 million. The capacity here. Failure to use money is also negligence of duty.
Chair, thank you very much, Chair. I think on this one I'll ask my colleague, the treasurer, to just shed more light on
Go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, the money was not utilized. Nonetheless, the money was committed because the contract had already been given to the contractors. So it was just a matter of a quick movement for the contractors to finish and then request for their payments. But these funds were already committed. Thank you very much, Chair.
But that's what the auditor queried. When the auditor queries, it means there's something that is not right. You know. Yes, the money was named, but it wasn't utilized.
Chair, it is noted. Nonetheless, when the contract is already in progress, it's just a matter of how fast the contractor can complete whichever stage they are working on for the council to be able to facilitate the payments. I think the issue was just delayed movement by the contractors. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. But did you give the auditors the same information when they came? Did you explain to them like that?
Yes, Chair, we did explain. Nonetheless, the money still stood as unutilized because it was still in the council coffers. Thank you, Chair.
But at times when it's the council that is delaying payment, I've seen where even maybe signing of the contract, the council will take 3 weeks. You know, the people have contracted, come, no, we haven't finished typing, the contract is not. You keep on pushing them on and fro. And this is why the auditor queried. You have a responsibility to make sure that there is efficiency. And time factor is also considered. So when you are getting quite a lot of money here from equalization fund, for that you are working. But if this money is there idle, and I'm sure if the contractor was to come, he would put the blame on you, that you are slow, and this is why the auditor queried. So you're supposed to take note of this and improve. Yeah, not on saying when none there is, none there is. No. It's about efficiency here and getting things done on time. I think we have now come to the end of the session, and I'll ask the permanent witnesses to summarize if they have any concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Council Secretary and your team, from the Auditor General, I just want to urge you to pay a bit more attention to the audit process. When we give you the management letter, if there are issues that we've raised in the management letter where you feel need to clarify, let us clarify at that point. Also, when we give you the final management letter, which is the DAP, if there are issues there where you feel that maybe you presented the information or the information is not factually presented, you are required or at liberty to engage the Auditor General so that we can clarify things at that stage for the first. We will be coming to audit you this year. Please let us work together as we did, but this time I urge you to pay a bit more attention to the documents that will be coming to you so that where you feel need to clarify, provide the clarification at that point. I submit, Chair.
CS and your team, you are here because something was not done well. And I think my advice is that it's important that you look out in your processes, your systems, your governance issues, your risk issues, controls, so that you work out how you are going to improve on these systems, so that next time you won't be here, especially knowing that if we are not doing the right thing, our institution won't benefit. So let's do everything for the benefit of the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mwandi, I'm sure you've heard the submissions of the Honorable Committee here, especially with the issues around
the other mic.
Especially on the issues around project management. There's a lot of work to do there, utilization of these resources, the monitoring of all the projects that are around. And as you do that, we would like to employ you to adhere to legislations, regulations, and public financial management reforms that govern the discharge of functions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
The mic there again, it's still on. It can go off. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and the members of this honorable committee. As observed by the committee, I wish to urge the council to go and put their books in order as the auditors are going to audit their books. And also, as usual, on the budgeting, I think that's where the concern is. We should be doing the budget monitoring where we can flex the budget so that if we need be, you can apply for a budget adjustment, unlike leaving it where we have very big variances of amounts. I submit, Chair.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I think, CS, we have seen. You need to be more innovative, put up measures to raise your revenue base. Your revenue base is shaky. Your budgeting also had a variance of, 796,000. That's not very healthy. So because the purpose of the council is to collect money through taxes, and that money it should use to give service to the community, so that the community is encouraged actually to give more to your council. But you need to come up with more ideas, because the government is giving about 8 million per year, and what we are getting is only less than a million, you know. So the government is spending more money, and you are collecting very little. So Mwande can't develop in such a fashion. We need you to improve and be innovative on your commercial, on your revenue base. Otherwise, take note of all these things that have been said here. The mere fact that the auditor has queried and brought you here, it means there are a lot of things that are not correct. And therefore, sit down, strategize on how you can improve on all these areas the auditor has queried, so that they can be in order and you'll be able to raise more money. Now that we have come to the end, the Cap 12 is now removed. You are free to now leave and travel safely to Mwandi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Stay well and God bless you. Thank you.
Cherish so close to my heart. This land, founded on freedom, grounded in justice, love for all mankind. It's a land where every person is born free, and it's a land of peace, of love and unity. This land, Zambia, land of the strong, home of the brave, our land, Zambia, free men we stand in this land. In this land,
Zambia. Even saying the word is a multi-sensory experience. It somehow captures something of the essence of this special place in the warm heart of southern Africa. Take in the mighty Zambezi River, the majestic Victoria Falls that form Zambia's natural southern border, and the national parks overflowing with wildlife. Immerse yourself in the fast-growing towns and cities, teeming with history, light, and life. Then visit the vast lakes that seem to touch the stars and engage with a plethora of different ethnic groups, cultures, and languages. Together, they make up the intricately woven fabric of this remarkable country. To visit Zambia is to begin a love affair that will never be exhausted, and unlike any that you have ever experienced before. For all the superlatives that man has used in his attempts to describe Victoria Falls, none are able to do this incredible natural wonder justice. You have to see it for yourself. It is a truly awe-inspiring experience. Livingston,